A big shout out to the 3MTT training program. This week, I got started learning to upload files like Excel and CSV using Pandas and also using NumPy in Python. Now, to upload files using your Pandas library, the first thing is to import Pandas as PD, and also I'll be importing NumPy because I'll need NumPy along line as NP. Now, after importing, the next thing is to read my file to CSV. I'm reading the file. So I'll be using pd.read underscore CSV. Now, here is where it's a little tricky and a lot of attention, I had to pay a lot of attention to it, is to call up the file. I've saved the file on my desktop and the file is this used cars. Now I'll right click on this file, get the details or the properties of this file. Then where I have location, you copy where you have location, that's the file location. Now the name of the file is actually used cars .csv is a CSV file .csv. Now I have to change each of these backslash, all of the backslash that I copied, I have to change them to front slash. If you use backslash, it won't work. That was the first mistake I made, but a big thanks to my trainer in the physical class session. He actually corrected that in the physical class session. And with this, I've been able to access the file and import the file from my desktop to my Jupyter notebook or to my Python surface work here. Now with this, let's see what I have copied. Here are the first 5 rows. That's 0, 1, 2, 4. Now by default also, if I use df.tail, I'll be able to access the last 5 rows by default. This dot tail. Now if you look at these first 5 rows, you notice that these rows are without any form of heading. Now let's create an appropriate heading for this row. Now I have kept a list here, a long list for my heading. I've titled it headers. Now to actually attach this to my df, I'll do df.column, creating columns equals headers. Now with that, I've attached the column. We can view it. Let's do df.header. Let's see the first 3 rows .head. Then I want to see the first 3 rows so we can see my new form of heading. Now here are my new form of heading. To remove these missing values, I want to first change them to NaN, to NaN. So I'll create another data frame. This will be df.this. We'll now use replace method. I'll be replacing my question marks here. I'll be replacing it with np. I'll be doing np.nan to replace it. Now, after replacing this, the next thing we can now do is to finally remove those ones we want to remove. For example, my price should not contain an NaN. My price should contain integers. So we'll be doing df to be equals to df1 dot drop NaN into a subset is equals to, we'll consign with the price column, price, and we'll be removing all the axes in the row. Now I tag axis to be equals to 0. If you're removing axis on the row, you use axis equals 0. But if you are removing on the column, you do axis equals 1. Now that we have removed axis on the row for price, with this we have cleaned up the price of missing values or the NAN. So that I can now look at my df now dot head. Let's take like the first 10. Now on the first 10 rows, obviously if you look at my price column, you cannot see any missing value. Now let's go further. Let's take df dot head. Let's take the next 20 rows again. And let's still go back to price. I want us to go back to price, and you see that on other columns you can see missing values, but on price there are no missing values. There are no missing values. Other things that came up during the week, I also saw how to use the describe. Now we can do df.describe to see basic information about the data frame, especially when it comes to statistical informations like the count, mean, STD, mean, the quartiles, the 25%, 50%, 75%, and the max. Now, if you want to now see this data frame in brief, I can do my df.info to see the data frame, to see basic information about it in brief. The week has not ended, work still continues, and I'll be glad to share updates which I believe others might learn from. All shout outs to the 3MTT learning program. Thank you.